And by JJ's Stew, your family restaurant in Moss Point. JJ's Stew. And by A&B Check Cashers on Main Street in Moss Point. And our game is being brought to you in part by the City of Moss Point, the River City, the Office of the Mayor, the Board of Aldermen, and all of the city employees. And by State Farm Insurance, the Loretta Jennings Agency in Moss Point. State Farm is there. And now we go to the Gulfport Stadium with our announcers Brad Kessie and Jackie Alley as we prepare to bring you the Moss Point Tigers and the Gulf.
Chance to win the game on the final play of the game if we could have gotten the pass off. They lost 28-23. Now they have to turn around a tough week of practice to get ready for the wing tee of the Gulfport Admirals in what is a much bigger game than last week's game.
Well, I think even that last week was good for Moss Point to get ready for this week, because even though they ran an option, West Monroe ran an option, when you're doing an option and wing tee, it's not a lot of differences in those type of formations, other than we're going to see a lot more speed than what we saw last week, if you can believe that, because J.J. Johnson was pretty quick, pretty fast ball player. But Gulfport comes in with three fantastic winners that can turn it on at any time. So the bottom line is Moss Point still went against a running football team last week, so I think that that's going to help them. The only thing is, one of those ingredients of stopping them, Joseph Anderson, who was having a good game, won't be playing tonight.
Seems like we say that about Gulfport every year. They've got three guys who can run the football and explode at any time. They also have a quarterback who can throw it if he has to.
Well, they can throw it. Gulfport showed you they can come back. So Moss Point tonight, have to play a full 4 quarters of football. I mean, Gulfport played against a coming Hattiesburg football team. Hattiesburg had them down, I think it was 21-7 and 28-9 late in the third quarter, and Gulfport wins the football game 38-35. So that tells you that Gulfport can get explosive. Moss Point has to do a lot better job tonight on special teams, because that's how they got back in the game last week. People forget about special teams. You know, you've heard Dick Buckers, and some say, oh, put a skirt on the kicker. Well, kicking is a part of football, and it's ironic that they even name it football. So we got to learn how to kick the football and then cover.
That's Dick Butkus, who's now the head of football operations for the XFL. I'm sure there won't be many skirts in the XFL. Tigers have gone to put on their road uniforms for tonight's game. When we come back, we'll talk more about Moss Point and Gulfport. You're watching Tiger Football 2000 right here on Cable One's Cable Channel 13.
You can travel from coast to coast, and still you may never find a better deal on car insurance than the one you'll find right in your own neighborhood. Because right now, your local State Farm agent is offering new policyholders substantial discounts on car insurance. So now you can get all the benefits of a discount rate, plus all the benefits of State Farm's friendly personal service, wherever you call home. Call a State Farm agent today to learn how much you can save on insurance from the world's leading car insurer.
Want to avoid the long lines and the heat of the day when trying to cash your payroll check? Then come to A&B Check Cashers, located in the Southgate Shopping Center at the intersection of Main Street and Jefferson Street in Moss Point. A&B would be happy to cash your checks courteously and quickly. At A&B, you can wire money to anyone, any place, anytime. A&B Check Cashers, Moss Point. Looking for a fun place to eat after the game? Try JJ's Stew, Moss Point's newest family restaurant. We're open 24 hours with a full menu, sandwiches as well as full dinners. Breakfast is our specialty, served up in hearty portions for those with a manly-sized appetite. We're easily located on Amico Drive, immediately across from the Holiday Inn Express. After the game or at any time, come and dine at JJ's Stew, your family.
Hospice is one of the options available to patients and their families who are confronted with end-of-life issues. With us today is RN Donna Coleman, Patient Care Coordinator for We Care Hospice, to tell us more about hospice care. Donna, what patients are eligible for your hospice program?
In general, any patient with a certifiable terminal illness with a prognosis of 6 months or less may be eligible for enrollment in our hospice program. The term terminal illness may include diagnoses that include, but are not limited to, heart disease, lung disease, Alzheimer's disease, liver disease, AIDS, kidney disease, and many other disease processes. There may actually be a combination of 2 disease processes that will certify a patient as terminal.
Thank you, Donna. If you have any questions regarding hospice care, phone We Care Hospice for more information and a possible referral. We Care Hospice, when caring matters most.
MediMart Pharmacy is now your center for IV solutions. For home IV therapies that may include nutrition, hydration, pain management, antibiotic therapy, or any other IV therapy that your physician may order, MediMart Pharmacy prepares IV solutions competently, expertly, and the therapies are administered in the privacy of your home by competently trained health professionals.
Welcome back to Milner Stadium in the Tiger football pregame show. Brad Kessie and Jackie Ellie. It's going to be a good football game tonight between 2 very good football teams, especially here in the Deep South.
Yeah, Brad, and you made in your opening comments, you're absolutely correct about the fact that the winner of this game tonight is in the driver's seat to who will become Region 4 champ. And it at least will almost assure the winner of this game tonight a home field for the first playoff game because you're almost assured of being at least second place. So that's why this game is very important tonight for the Morris Point Tigers, because we don't lose that many times at Dowsett Stadium, especially during the playoffs.
I was going to say, I'm not sure how important home field is here at Milner Stadium because they don't always draw a great crowd here, but to play a home game or 2 home games at Dantzler Stadium certainly means a lot for Moss Point.
Well, it means a lot because there's occasionally a lot of enthusiasm. I know we get on the fans a lot, but and I'm just a big believer and know that I've played a lot of football that when the fans get behind you, it's just something special that you want to dig just a little deeper. You want to reach into your heart and pull it up and go just that little extra effort. And that's why we've always challenged the Morris Point fans to get a lot more vocal in the football games. But Morris Point tonight, you look at the crowd right now, we have probably 2 to 3 times the number of people that Gulfport has already. And it may, I guess Coach Alexander may use his advantage because the press box is on the visitor side. But let's pretend this is our home field.
It may be interesting and may be important for the fans to be allowed tonight because I sensed a very business-like approach as the team was on the football field warming up before you got here, almost to the extent of, have they really gotten over last week's game? You say they have, and you say it's the business approach that they're going to take this week rather than the very fiery opening that they had a week ago and they ran out of gas.
Well, I think it's the experience of the coaching staff. That game is over with. I mean, Sunday afternoon, Coach Alexander met with his team and told them, hey, you guys played a good game, but the game is over. Well, now we got to go because our quest was to get into the state championship, the playoffs, and to win the state championship. That's the goal of the Morris Point Tigers. Yes, they would like to be ranked, but if Morris Point run the table now, when we run the table and win the state championship, then that national recognition will come to the Morris Point Tigers.
Good question about Demarius Bilbo. You asked me if he was suited up tonight. You say he's got some problems with his ribs.
Well, he actually took a pretty good lick last week. We saw him kept flexing his arm, and I talked to one of the trainers this week and some of the players, or some of the coaches, one of the coaches, and I'm understanding that it's just a deep bruise on his ribs. He had a flak jacket on last week, but West Monroe seems to be bad luck for Demarius Bilbo, but he will suit it up, and I don't think you're going to keep Demarius Bilbo out of this football game. I think Demarius is going to come and put up about 30 points on the game early and then turn it over to Willie Lee.
Not when you know what's at stake here tonight at Milner Stadium. We'll wrap up the pregame show right after this. Candy Video Productions and Moss Point Tiger Football are coming your way next.
MediMart Pharmacy is now your center for IV solutions. For home IV therapies that may include nutrition, hydration, pain management, antibiotic therapy, or any other IV therapy that your physician may order, MediMart Pharmacy prepares IV solutions competently, expertly, and the therapies are administered in the privacy of your home by competently trained health professionals. Most IV therapies are reimbursable by Medicare, Medicaid, and many private insurance companies. For the convenience of home therapy, IV therapies prepared and delivered in your home by MediMart Pharmacy. MediMart Pharmacy is more than just a drugstore. For more information about home IV services, phone MediMart Pharmacy at 474-1011.
You can travel from coast to coast, and still you may never find a better deal on car insurance than the one you'll find right in your own neighborhood. Because right now, your local State Farm agent is offering new policyholders substantial discounts on car insurance. So now you can get all the benefits of a discount rate, plus all the benefits of State Farm's friendly personal service, wherever you call home. Call a State Farm agent today to learn how much you can save on insurance from the world's leading car insurer.
Want to avoid the long lines and the heat of the day when trying to cash your payroll check? Then come to A&B Check Cashers, located in the Southgate Shopping Center at the intersection of Main Street and Jefferson Street in Moss Point. A&B would be happy to cash your checks courteously and quickly. At A&B, you can wire money to anyone, any place, anytime. A&B Check Cashers, Moss Point. Looking for a fun place to eat after the game? Try JJ's 2, Moss Point's newest family restaurant. We're open 24 hours with a full menu, sandwiches as well as full dinners. Breakfast is our specialty, served up in hearty portions for those with manly-sized appetites. We're easily located on Amico Drive, immediately across from the Holiday Inn Express. After the game or at any time, come and dine at JJ's 2, your family restaurant. MediMart Pharmacy is now your center for IV solutions. For home IV therapies that may include nutrition, hydration, pain management, antibiotic therapy, or any other IV therapy that your physician may order, MediMart Pharmacy prepares IV solutions competently, expertly, and the therapies are administered in the privacy of your home by competently trained health professionals.
Well, no matter what happens tonight, you can't blame the weather. The conditions here are absolutely perfect. There's virtually no wind. The temperature is in, I guess, the mid-60s. This is virtually perfect football weather. Great night for the fans. It's going to be a great night for us since we're sitting outside.
Well, I'm going to love this. I think we've had a couple of games. I remember the Wayne County game a couple of years ago. We sat outside. So we're going to be out with the fans, and maybe during the game we'll be able to bring some fans in and talk to us a little bit live. We just make sure that whoever we have around us, that make sure you know that Brad and Jack are not the two people who say whatever you heard.
And one other thing. We're not going to let the dogs out if they come and talk to us.
No. We're going to let the dogs stay on this side. As I think Jason McBell's brother, and he tries to get the dogs ready. So the Moss Point Tigers are coming out here to entertain a football game, and I see DeMarius Bilbo coming out with the captains, and I just look for a big thing. I look for a big game from Moss Point. I think you're going to see the class of Mississippi tonight, Brad.
Who let the dogs out? The Moss Point Tigers. We certainly hope as they get ready to take on the Gulfport Admirals. The kickoff is next. Stay with us here on Cable One's Cable Channel 13.
MediMart Pharmacy is now your center for IV solutions. For home IV therapies that may include nutrition, hydration, pain management, antibiotic therapy, or any other IV therapy that your physician may order, MediMart Pharmacy prepares IV solutions competently, expertly, and the therapies are administered in the privacy of your home by competently trained health professionals. Most IV therapies are reimbursable by Medicare, Medicaid, and many private insurance companies. For the convenience of home therapy, IV therapies prepared and delivered in your home by MediMart Pharmacy. MediMart Pharmacy is more than just a drugstore. For more information about home IV services, phone MediMart Pharmacy at 474-1011.
You can travel from coast to coast, and still you may never find a better deal on car insurance than the one you'll find right in your own neighborhood. Because right now, your local State Farm agent is offering new policyholders substantial discounts on car insurance. So now you can get all the benefits of a discount rate, plus all the benefits of State Farm's friendly personal service, wherever you call home. Call a State Farm agent today to learn how much you can save on insurance from the world's leading car insurer.
Looking for a fun place to eat after the game? Try JJ's 2, Most Point's newest family restaurant. We're open 24 hours with a full menu, sandwiches as well as full dinners. Breakfast is our specialty, served up in hearty portions for those with manly-sized appetites. We're easily located on Amico Drive, immediately across from the Holiday Inn Express. After the game or at any time, come and dine at JJ's 2.
Captain for tonight's game, from Mount Point, number 10, Demarius Bilbo, number 15, Dennis Walker, number 22, Ed Jones, number 92, Anthony Spoke, Gulfport Admirals, number 40, Lawrence Carter, number 7, Charles Hall, number 49, Derek Walker, number 68, Kevin
midfield now. All right, Blue, you won the toss, and your coach elected to defer to the second half. You're going to kick from the scoreboard. So if you put your back to this go, White, you put your back to this go. Seems like Ronnie is
Bill Burton, clock operator William Hill.
Yeah, come on in here. Look, y'all captains of your team. I want you to control your team, okay? Blue, I want you to talk to Blue. White, I want you to talk to White, okay? We don't need to talk across the line of scrimmage, okay? You like to both of you. You love that.
I'm doing my pen.
Gulfport Admirals have won the toss, and they have deferred to the second half, which means the Tigers will get it first, and out of the south end zone comes the Gulfport Admirals through some smoke that we saw a week ago, and I'm not sure we're going to see it tonight because, you know, we're very superstitious, aren't we?
Yeah, we don't usually do things twice in a row when we come from a loss.
And much as we anticipated, here come the Tigers in their white road uniforms. Moss Point led out by Frankie Polk, number 94, and the Tigers get ready to take on the Gulfport Admirals. Huge game in Region 4 as both teams are undefeated at 3-0, and both teams are also coming into this game with only one loss in regular season play. So Gulfport, who struggled in week 1, has bounced back nicely.
Gulfport's lost, Brad. They actually lost 2 games.
2 games, you're absolutely right.
But they came after a big week, 1 week, they came back the second week and really fell on their face. But Ronnie Quavers is an experienced football coach, and that's something that the Moss Point staff knows every year that they have to guard against is the experience of Ronnie Quavers and the staff. Because there's not a coach on this Gulf Coast or in this region that knows the Moss Point Tigers any better than Ronnie Quavers.
Brett Walton, number 18, he kicked last year for Gulfport. He's still their kicker. He has his tee at the 40-yard line right in front of where we are sitting. So you know we are immediately to the south of the press box tonight. Our cameraman CJ is immediately to our left as we enjoy an absolutely spectacular night. And this year we promise, CJ, we won't bump into you. Sherrod Pickens is back deep awaiting the kick along with Von Travis Kelly, who still has his left ankle taped as he did 1 week ago. How do you like this formation?
Well, Ronnie Quavers puts a little bit into it, but that's a rush-type tactic.
The kick is a knuckleball. It'll be taken by Von Travis Kelly from the 8, and here we go. Kelly is to the 30-yard line, and that's where he's dropped. The Tigers will start there, 1st and 10. And Demarius Bilbo, the senior quarterback, runs out in the football field. And one of his running backs to start tonight is Demetrius Anderson, number 48.
I saw an article in the paper to call in. They have a place where you can call in and the paper do comments, and there were a lot of comments about Demetrius Anderson getting more playing time because of the way he's been running the football when he's in the football game.
Dennis Walker to the bottom of your screen. On first down, Simmons is to the top. Bilbo back, three-step drop, swing pass outside. It is incomplete. He tried to go to Tremaine Moore. 4 different Gulfport Admirals were there to make sure Tremaine Moore did not pull it in. Tremaine Moore this year, 26 receptions, 675 yards. He averages 26 yards every time he catches the football. His longest reception of the year was last week's 80-yard touchdown.
Well, Tremaine Moore and Morris Point's offense is going to really have to start throwing the football away to loosen up. You saw Tremaine Moore had 3 people on him on that play.
Shotgun formation for the Tigers. Anderson now shifts over to the left side. Second down 10. Bilbo back. Plenty of time. Looks, now steps up. He gets to the 30-yard line, gets to the outside, 35. Bilbo across the 40-yard line to the 40 and a half. That's 10 yards and a Tiger first down.
Well, if the Morris Point Tigers quarterback Bilbo has real problems, he's not really worried about it. Bilbo knows the importance of this football game, and football players have to play through injuries. There's not a football player you ever seen that's gone through the entire season without some type of a nagging injury or a tight hit.
Good protection from the offensive front. Dorian Johnson, Hess Robertson, Damian Harris, James McCoy, Octavius Kirkland. Tigers 2 receivers top of your picture. It is 1st and 10 Moss Point. The Tigers will run it for the first time tonight, and that's Keswick Nettles who gets the handoff. Kes gets out to the 42-yard line, and that's where he's thrown backwards. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Well, Robert Walker and Chris McNair, 44 and 47, are the starting linebackers, and they have good speed, good range. They know how to get in a hurry to make big plays. You have to block McNair and Walker if you want to be successful running the football.
Tigers' leading ground gainer so far this year is Sherrod Pickens. He has 268 yards. Kes Nettles, 192 going into tonight's game. Dennis Walker goes to the top of the picture. Now coming to the bottom will be Tremaine Moore. Looks at his wristband to see which play and which formation he's supposed to be in. 2nd down and 8. They go play action. Bilbo back with time. Going long, and he fires it as far as he can. And Tremaine Moore at the 5-yard line. It's just over his fingertips. Folks, that ball was thrown 60 yards in the air.
And Tremaine Moore slowed down a little bit at first. If Tremaine Moore had kept his speed up, he would have run right into that football. Good throw from Bilbo. That tells you real quick, fans, that if Bilbo has sore ribs right now, they're not bothered at all by his run and by that long pass.
Are you with me? That was the hardest pass he's thrown all year?
He threw it too, buddy.
He put it into it. 3rd down. Tigers go no huddle. Simmons in motion. 3rd and 8. 2 receivers now to the top. Bilbo looking that way, sets up a screen pass, has 3 blockers. Does Sherrod Pickens, and Pickens has the first down and more. Pickens into Gulfport territory. Pickens finally run out of bounds as he reaches the 41 or maybe the 40-yard line for the Tigers. A gain of 18 and a first down on the screen pass.
Reading Doug Barber's column today in the Sun Herald, he talked about Ronnie Quaver's interview about the fact that Morris Point and how they throw the football. You could tell that they're not trying to put the pressure like West Monroe and Harrison Central did early in this football game, or the Morris Point offensive line is picking it up much better.
Armstead is at the bottom of your picture on first down. Tigers from the 40 of Gulfport. Bilbo's going to roll. Near side pressure is coming as they blitz. Bilbo looks, now throws low, and it is incomplete. At about the 25-yard line, he was looking for Anthony Simmons, but he was being chased by Johnny Spearman, who they say is a defensive lineman at 5'8", 170 pounds. And he looks a lot smaller than that.
Well, he gave us fits last year. He has a little quickness, and he finds a way to get through the seam. And that young man gave us fits last year. We have to do a better job of blocking him. We talked about the offensive line doing a good job, and then in the next play, a lot of pressure come. But I think that was designed to roll this way. They're going to be setting some type of throwback pass off of that play, off of that action.
What we failed to mention is last year the Gulfport Admirals did knock off Moss Point. 2nd down, Tigers are going to run the football. They give it to Demetrius Anderson. Anderson gets to the 36. It's 3rd and 6.
The Tigers, after that tough loss last week, had to come out on this first offensive possession and try to establish something positive. And field position is important. We know how it hurt us in the second half last week. Morris Point's coming out and doing exactly what it has to do in 4-down territory. Want to try to get at least half of these yards on this play.
3rd and 6. Bilbo fires, got a man, Dennis Walker, the 28. Walker finally run out of bounds as he reaches the 23-yard line for the Tigers, 13 yards and a first down.
And Dennis Walker has been the most consistent receiver to me all year, even though he's not has the big numbers. Dennis makes the big catches to get you the first downs, and good possession receiver.
2 minutes have elapsed here in the first quarter. This is the 9th play of the Tigers' opening possession. Moss Point has it now from the 23 of Gulfport. 1st and 10, empty backfield for Bilbo. Now puts Pickens in motion. They give it to Pickens. Pickens stops, then goes. Pickens picks his way through a couple of tacklers, gets out to the 16-yard line. It'll be a 2nd and 3.
He read his blockers. Big Daddy James McCoy was out on this right side, and he did a good seal blocking. The way he got his head around so it was not a clip call. Brad, that's one of the things, too, the Moss Point Tigers have got to do a better job on. The last several weeks, we've seen that penalty flag just come and destroy a lot of good drives and keep drives open for the other team.
We haven't had rain here in Gulfport in a while, but I noticed during pregame the field can be slippery, and you saw a little of it there on the run by Pickens. Now up the gut goes Demetrius Anderson. He gets to the 12, and that's a 1st down on a 4-yard pickup.
I know all the fans have heard enough of this probably, but he's impressing me so much.
I know he does.
The bus looks as though he's going to be a good running back wherever he continues his football career, because he takes off, he hits the hole quick, and you don't knock him backwards. He's always going forward. Good, look like a lot like Jerome Bettis.
From the 12, the Tigers have it 1st and 10, and Bilbo goes shotgun, but it's a short snap. It goes to Pickens, stays on his feet, breaks tackles. Now inside the 5, what a run by Sherrod Pickens. 12 yards for a touchdown. He should have only gotten 2.
That's the most aggressive run we've seen of Sherrod Pickens this year. Sherrod just refused to go down. Remember last week, Alonzo Fairley. He had a tough run off of a short snap like that and just went in for the end zone easy against this Gulfport Admiral team.
He just kept running and running and running. He was like the Energizer Bunny, and he got into the end zone, and the Tigers lead 6-0 now, awaiting the extra point attempt by Demarius Bilbo. The holder is Tremaine Moore. The ball is down. The kick is straight, and the Tigers lead 7-0. It's a 11-play, 70-yard drive that ate up 3:05. It's Moss Point 7 and Gulfport nothing here from Milner Stadium.
And the Moss Point Tigers did what they had to do on the offensive side. Now it's up to the defense and special teams is to kick the football deep, get the ball, and make certain that it's not a very short field for Gulfport to operate.
This is going to be a nice run because it's going to come right into your living rooms at home, courtesy Candy Video Productions. The handoff and the short snap. Look at him keep his balance. Broke 3 tackles, makes a great little move there. What do you want to call it, a jitterbug sort of move there?
Well, I know Frank Davis in the old days, we used to say he made him lose some kind of strap. And
we can say he lost his jock strap there.
Well, okay, well, Frank Davis is going to be looking for it. He's going to get a little ribbon once the replay is shown to his teammates.
Charles Hall and Josh Johnson are awaiting the Bilbo kick. High, end over end, it sails to Josh Johnson from the 6. And here comes one of the electrifying running backs for Gulfport, and there he goes. Josh Johnson's already at the 40, and Demarius Bilbo grabs him by an ankle and brings him down at the 45-yard line, a 39-yard return. Folks, these Gulfport Admirals can run.
We've got to do a better job now about the big play. Josh Johnson is the one person who brought Gulfport back last week against Hattiesburg. He had a 70-yard kickoff return and a 60-yard punt return, both for touchdowns.
Last week it was J.J. Johnson. This week we've got to deal with Josh Johnson from the 45-yard line. Gulfport has it. 1st and 10. The quarterback is Chris Smith. He wears number 8. The featured back is Josh Johnson, but they also have Charles Hall, who wears number 7. And a fullback whose number we'll give you in a minute. Hall's the man in motion. On 1st down, Hall has the football. Hall sweeps to the right and gets about 6 yards.
The Tigers defense has to make Chris Smith, the quarterback, number 8, beat them. They've got to take away those, at least 2 of those running backs and make Chris Smith keep that football, which we know he can run the football and he can throw the ball, but you have to force him to do something that he doesn't like to do and Ronnie Cuevas doesn't like to do, and that's throw the football.
Well, they actually say he's not a very good running back.
Well,
a running quarterback, I should say. So maybe the Tigers do want to try to make him run the football. Penalty flag comes down on 2nd down and 4. Near side linesman drew it. Somebody lined up offside.
Look, I think the Moss Point Tigers, if I'm not mistaken, on the top of away from the formation, got right into the neutral zone. I think there may have been Darius Fountain.
So it is an offside on the Tigers, and that makes penalty by 1st down. It's Smith in the backfield. Crosby's the big number 4 who stands right behind him. The wing to the right is Josh Johnson. Johnson, the man in motion. They give it, though, to Tavares Crosby, and Crosby gets to the 40-yard line, a gain of about 4.
Well, they loaded up. Gulfport has a very good blocking offensive line. They will come after you pretty good. Morris Point has to beat them with quickness, get into the gap, and tackle the first thing comes, because you don't know where that football is going with that wing T.
Moss Point and Gulfport, both 3-0 in the region. Again, Josh Johnson, wing right. Smith in motion. They give it, though, to Tavares Crosby, now running against the grain. And Tavares Crosby gets all the way down to the 31-yard line before Jones and Macbeth bring him down. It's a gain of 8 and a first down.
And early in this football game, they're going after the spot that's normally occupied by number 95, Joseph Anderson. They realize that Joseph Anderson is not in the football game, and they're trying to, Gulfport is trying to penetrate that spot where he normally occupies.
From the 32-yard line, first down, Admirals wearing their navy blue uniforms. They give the ball to Smith, sweeping right. Smith tackled by Albert Dickerson with help from Macbeth, but not until he got to the 27-yard line. A gain of almost 5. They're getting almost 4 or 5 yards every time they run the football.
And Gulfport's offensive line is not very big. They just happen to be getting after the Morris Point Tigers defensive line right now.
I love what different people here at Gulfport have to say about the wing T. Obviously, Ronnie Cuevas loves it, but there are other people here who think it doesn't really display the talents of some of the athletes on this team. They go right up the gut, and that is Crosby getting to the 20-yard line. 7 more yards, first and 10 Gulfport.
They don't surprise you with anything. They just load it up and come after you.
Put it at the 20-yard line now, first and 10. And notice this has been entirely Smith, Hall, I should say, Hall and Crosby. Johnson hasn't touched it yet.
Isn't that scary?
Charles Hall, number 7. He's going to get it. No, this time they give it to Josh Johnson. A little misdirection. Johnson to the outside. He makes a move. Penalty flag down. And Johnson's inside the 10-yard line before he's sandwiched by Hamilton. But a penalty flag is down. Was that number 5, Emmett Johnson, playing tonight?
Yes, it is. And Jason Macbeth is the young man who got clipped on the play, and Jason was slow to get up, but he's trying to walk it off. That certainly would be a big loss, is to lose Jason Macbeth. But Brad, to stop this wing T offense, I look for the coaching staff eventually to move Albert Dickerson up out of the safety and become more or less another linebacker. And then you've got to outmatch them with numbers. You can't just go one-on-one. Gulfport's not going to do a lot of drive blocking. They're going to do a lot of, I call it occupying blocking. They just going to get in your way and tie you up, and the quickness of these backs, so they're going to be gone before the defense can get off of the block.
Back at the 32-yard line. They have to get to the 10, so it's first and 22. Again, Josh Johnson sweep near side. This time the Tiger defense was all over it. Ball came free late, but they're going to say the running back was down. Darius Fountain's the one who picked it up. A host of Tigers there.
But Dexter Hamilton had a good game last week, and Dexter Hamilton jumped in, just weaved right through the blockers to make a tackle on Josh Johnson. The thing about it, you keep him in front of you, don't bite on his moves. He can shake and bake all he wants to, but where's he going? He's going to go, you watch his hips. Wherever his hips going to go, his legs going to take him, and you just watch his hips. You can block, you can tackle him easy if you watch that. Not easy, but better.
5 minutes remaining here in the first quarter. 7-0 Moss Point. Gulfport has it, second down, 21. They put Johnson in motion. The quarterback's going to throw the ball this time. He throws downfield. He's got his man. It's Crosby who breaks 1 tackle, breaks 2 tackles before he's brought down by Marquise Macbeth at the 20-yard line. An 11-yard gain. It was really only a 4-yard pickup, but good running by Crosby.
Got to wrap him up, because Crosby is a tough runner inside. He and the bus run a lot alike. Very strong runners.
It's now third down and 10, maybe even 9 with the ball inside the 20-yard line.
And we know Gulfport is a screen-type team with his passing game. They love to just dump that ball to Hall or Josh Johnson and let them use their speed to get away.
Crosby behind Smith. They give it to nobody. They throw the ball to Crosby. He makes a move. Jones slipped. It's going to be a first down inside the 10-yard line. So they ran a couple of fake handoffs, one of them to Josh Johnson. That freed up Crosby. And Crosby gets the first down on the reception of 10 yards.
Well, that was the pass that we talked about. Chris Smith was not going to throw the ball long, and I wouldn't either if I had the type of running backs that Gulfport has. You just dump that ball off and them use their speed and say, I'm going to beat you to the corner.
So from 2nd and 22, Gulfport has it 1st and goal just inside the 10-yard line as we've reached the 3:45 mark. Josh Johnson seems to be limping as he lines up in his slot right. They give the ball to Hall, finds a seam, touchdown Gulfport. Charles Hall went in from 9 yards, was not touched as the Tigers bid for the fake handoff to Crosby, and it's 7-6 pending the extra point.
The safeties for the Morris Point Tigers have to get more involved in the action right now, especially Albert Dickerson, the strong safety. He's got to get in, become another linebacker for the Morris Point Tigers. And you have to take them out of the offense, Brad. I know the Morris Point Tigers have a great defense, good strategy, but they have to take Gulfport away from what they like to do, and that's just running the football.
Extra point is up, and it is good. And just like that, we are tied at 7 after a 9-play, 55-yard drive that ate up 5 minutes and 20 seconds. So with 3:35 remaining in quarter number 1, 7-7 is your score. I want to remind you fans that Tiger Football 2000 is brought to you by JJ's 2 Family Restaurant, Metamart Pharmacy, A&B Check Cashers, We Care Hospice, State Farm Insurance, Loretta Jennings Agency, the Moss Point Touchdown Club, and the City of Moss Point.
What the Tigers have to do what we used to say in those days, now they have to shack house and come right back out. The best way to answer a score is with a score. The Morris Point Tigers, we saw on the first possession that they have the offensive ability to move the ball against Gulfport. The Marius Bilbo and crew just patience. The patience stay in and come right back down the football field and score some points.
To make sure I understand this, they have to shack house.
It's just called a shack house. That just means you're building a house to come back, and when you build a house with a strong foundation, you normally, good things come.
The Walton kick sails to the goal line, and that's where it's taken by Von Travis Kelly. They fake a reverse, but they're going to say he went into the end zone to catch it, so that's an automatic touchback, and the ball at the 20-yard line.
And Von Travis didn't really need to put that foot out, but he stretched real far and just barely got that foot in the end zone. Once that foot gets in the end zone, high school football, we know that it comes to the 20.
So Anthony Simmons will line up to the bottom of your screen as the Tigers get ready to go again for the second time. Bilbo under center. Penalty flag comes down. Von Travis Kelly and Fairley are the running back tandem, I believe. Penalty flag is offside on Gulfport. It's got to be the most ridiculous penalty in the world is lining up offsides.
I'm watching Spearman this time, number 5. I know Hess Robinson wish he had a 290-pounder instead of a 170-pounder.
Von Travis on first down, and Kelly picks his way right up the gut, gets to about the 27-yard line. A 2-yard gain, maybe a 3-yard gain to the 28, 2nd down and 2.
Morris Point been rotating running backs all year, and that's good if you don't have someone being effective. But I think Morris Point's got to try to find, as they get into the play, they got to find 2 running backs who's going to be hot and tandem together and stick with them to let them get a better feel for the football game.
Walker and Simmons, the receivers. 2nd down, blitz is coming. Tigers get away from him with a run by Fairley. Fairley right up the gut over left tackle. And Fairley gets out to the 46-yard line, 17 yards and a first down.
Part of that philosophy, though, is fresh legs in. As defensive linemen and defensive backs get tired, you keep fresh legs in the football game. Normally, you should be able to make a big play. Lonzo Fairley just shows some of that, even though we're still in the first quarter.
Officially 18 yards on the pickup, and it is a 1st and 10 for Moss Point. Simmons in motion. They give it to Anthony Simmons going left. He starts inside, darts to the outside. He's grabbed, stays on his feet, breaks tackles, still on his feet. He gets 8 yards because of determined running.
it kind of wears off on you that these running backs on both sides of the football field are just really having second, third, and fourth efforts, and that's good because we haven't seen the running backs run with that type of determination all year.
Walker and Simmons, the receiving tandem. Tremaine Moore standing, bottom of your picture. Empty backfield, Moss Point, 2nd down and 2. Bilbo, quarterback keeper. Bilbo fights for yardage, and he has a first down to about the 42-yard line. 4 tough yards for the quarterback.
But that's a good offensive philosophy Coach Bill Lee put in when he put 3 wide receivers to one side, because what that does, normally Tremaine Moore is being double covered. When you go to 3 wide outs to one side, you automatically make it be a one-on-one coverage, or in this case, Tremaine Moore split wide to the right, but you can see the double coverage that's coming over on him. 4
receivers only in the backfield was that man, Von Travis Kelly, and Kelly is swallowed up and dropped back at the line of scrimmage. Last man to touch him was Robert Walker, the linebacker.
See some of those Moss Point Tigers coming in. J.M. Mitchell over at LSU, Marcus Woodson at Ole Miss.
2nd down, 10. Ball at the 42-yard line. Bilbo, 3-step drop, throws the out pattern. He threw it just over the head of Jamal Armstead at the 34-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd down.
A little pump and fake. Alonzo Fairley from his backfield was down the middle, had about 10 yards of cushion, wide open.
Moss Point faces a 3rd and 10 now from the 42-yard line. They'll go shotgun with 2 receivers, 1 to the top of your picture, 1 to the bottom. Bilbo with a 2-man rush is really all they have right now as they look for containment. Now Bilbo slips and goes down. Tackled on the play by Chris McNair, and folks, Gulfport only sent 2, and they get a sack on the play of 8.
They were preparing for the screen pass, and Gulfport played it perfectly.
When 2 men are rushing, the quarterback is not supposed to be sacked.
You're absolutely right. Well, 4th down is coming up, and right now we were looking to see who possibly would punt tonight. Bilbo doesn't know if it's evidently Bilbo is going to be the punter tonight.
Josh Johnson standing at about the 14-yard line awaiting Demarius Bilbo's first punt of the season. It's a line drive that bounces at the 20. At the 12-yard line, Josh Johnson starts to the inside, cuts outside. He's hit and he's dropped at the 25-yard line. Albert Dickerson is the one who grabbed him by the jersey and put him to the turf. A 13-yard return after a punt that ended up being 38 yards, the ugliest 38-yard punt you'll ever see.
Yeah, but 38 yards, that's changed field position. Make Gulfport have to go a little longer than 50 yards.
This will be the final play of quarter number 1 as we have just 18 seconds left. The quarterback for the Admirals, Chris Smith, comes out to tell the wing T offense what it's supposed to do. 1st and 10, Gulfport going right to left here in what should be the final play of quarter number 1. Johnson in motion. They're going to give the ball, though, to Crosby, and Crosby tries to cut it upfield, and he was grabbed by the ankle by number 45, Jason McBeth, and that will be the final play of quarter number 1, a 3-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd and 7 when we come back. Through 1 quarter of play here at Milner Stadium in Gulfport, it's Moss Point 7 and Gulfport 7. You are watching Tiger Football 2000 right here on Cable One's Cable Channel 13.
You can travel from coast to coast, and still you may never find a better deal on car insurance than the one you'll find right in your own neighborhood. Because right now, your local State Farm agent is offering new policyholders substantial discounts on car insurance. So now you can get all the benefits of a discount rate, plus all the benefits of State Farm's friendly personal service, wherever you call home. Call a State Farm agent today to learn how much you can save on insurance from the world's leading car insurer.
We are ready for quarter number 2 here from Milner Stadium. Brad Kessie, Jackie Ellie, glad you could join us. on this Saturday morning as Candy Video Productions proudly presents another Moss Point Tiger football game. Second out, Johnson, the ball carrier, strung out to the outside. He's chased by Sip, and he's dropped by Sip. A gain on the play of just 2 yards. It'll bring up third down and about 6.
Well, if you make him run parallel to the line of scrimmage, you're doing your job, because if you try to turn it up, if you just keep position, you're going to put him away.
From the 28-yard line, actually 3rd and 7. No gain officially on the carry by Josh Johnson. Gulfport comes to the line of scrimmage. The quarterback back to pass. It's tipped. It's intercepted by Jason McBeth. McBeth with the INT, and then he dropped the football. McBeth picked it off, then he dropped it. The Admirals have it, and they have a first down.
How about that?
Second INT of the year for McBeth, but this one hurts because he fumbled it right back.
Gave it back, and it was going to, if the ball had fallen to the ground, it would force Gulfport to punt the football.
From the 33-yard line, that could have been a momentum swing. The reason we're quiet is because all of a sudden all sorts of police officers came running up here to the press box. On first down, they give it to Crosby. Crosby starts to the near side, cuts it back to the middle of the field, gets to the 36, second down, or 2nd and 7, I should say.
Well, you would think handling the football as much as Gulfport tries to handle it, they would fumble the ball a lot, but really they do a pretty good job. I guess if that's all you do in practice, every play is handling the football, and you protecting. Gulfport does a pretty good job overall of protecting the football. I hope I'm just putting a whammy on them right now.
Split back formation, second down. They do hand off to Hall this time. Hall at the 40 is brought down by Albert Dickerson. Ankle tackle by number 31 brings up a third down. 3rd and 3. Hall, because of his size, looks like he's the best of the running backs.
Brad, yeah, I'm sitting here just thinking the same thing. Crosby gives you that good up middle action, but Moss Point, the defensive linemen have to take care of Crosby. You've got to allow the Macbeth linebackers to be able to spread out and take care of Hall and Johnson when they try to cut it up.
Double wing formation, third down. Hall in motion. He gets the hand up, breaks one tackle, first down, out to the 47-yard line. He got 7 as Von Travis Kelly got close to making a tackle in the backfield, as did Darius Fountain. From the 47-yard line, 1st and 10. We've reached the 10-minute mark here, quarter number 2. 7-7 is the score. Johnson, the man in motion. They give it, though, to Crosby, and Crosby's going to pick his way out to midfield, maybe even the 49-yard line. 2nd down and 7.
I know one thing, if I was a little bitty guy playing wide receiver, I wouldn't want to be on the Gulfport
Not right now.
football team.
But if you remember when we were out here several years ago, just when you least expect it, they put the ball in the air.
Well, that's what they'll do, and that's why you run to depth to make the defense get a step closer. The coaches up in the press box read that, and then that's when they fake it in and try to hit a big one. 2nd
down and 7. Hall, the man in motion. They give it, though, to Johnson on the double misdirection, and Johnson is able to get out to the 44-yard line. Marquise McBeth is the one who made the tackle.
Play your defensive position. Don't bite on every fake. You got to realize that you cannot make every tackle. And I think that's what some of the defensive linemen are doing. They're trying to being over-aggressive, going after some instances, and they're taking themselves out of the play. Gulfport is taking advantage of the Moss Point's aggressiveness.
For the Admirals, it's 3rd down and 1. Moss Point scored first, marching right down the field in 3 minutes and 5 seconds, but the Admirals came back with a 5-minute, 20-second drive to tie the game at 7. Moss Point punted, and that's where we are now on 3rd and 1. Crosby is dropped in the backfield. Dropped by Emmett Johnson, number 5. A loss of 1. It brings up 4th down.
Bring up a little decision time for Ronnie Quavers. Now it's 4th and maybe about 4, a long 3. Do you want to give the ball to Moss Point in this on a short field?
No.
I wouldn't, but you know Ronnie Quavers will roll the dice on you too now. When especially we look over there and see the Grand Casino in the background, see if he'll roll the dice and snap the ball to McNair. His short. That's not McNair. I thought that Chris McNair used to play in that position. I don't know who's back there 27.
Wes Baker, it's snap over his head. Baker all the way back at the 32. He got it away. A fair catch is called for and made by Pickens. Then he muffed it. But he fell on it at the 32-yard line. And I think I saw, was that a beanbag or a penalty flag? It was a beanbag that came out very late. Officially on the play, a punt of 12 yards. And twice now Gulfport has dodged huge bullets at the exact same spot, the 32-yard line.
And that's why you always send a scout after the punter. In case it's a bad snap or something, you always send somebody hard rushing. Moss Point had someone rushing hard. He would have never got that punt off.
High formation for Moss Point is how they line up on first down. The Tigers come right out in a no-huddle situation. Pickens is the deep back with Keswick Nettles, I believe, the up back. 2 tight end formation for Moss Point. Pickens on first down, hit, dropped. Linebacker number 44, Robert Walker, threw his shoulder pads right into Pickens. It's second down and 10.
Moss Point opened this game with Demetrius Anderson and Kes Nettles back in the backfield, and they did a very good job running the football and giving Moss Point the type of room it needed. Since that time, the bus hadn't been back in, and we now see that Bilbo trying to get everybody in place. And
now a tremendously late flag comes down.
And I'm trying to see what
That's
they
your
may
buddy
be.
who made the call. It'll be against Moss Point.
And you know what he called, Brad? The lineman, the tight, the split end was on the line of scrimmage. McCoy got on the line of scrimmage, then he came off the line of scrimmage to run to the other side. Once you're covered as an offensive lineman, you can't move.
Second down and 15, empty backfield, shotgun Moss Point. Bilbo with 4 men coming, throws incomplete. He had Keswick Nettles wide open at the 34-yard line as the trailer on the play, and he just overthrew him. And he would have had a blocker in front with Tremaine Moore.
Just a little bit too much zip on that pass. It should have been more of a touch pass from Bilbo.
You know what the problem is? Bilbo's not used to having this much time. I mean, and that's the bottom line. The last few weeks, he's been pressured every time he's been dropped back to pass. Third down, 15. Bilbo with time across the middle. He's got his man Tremaine Moore, who makes a terrific catch at the 45-yard line, and that's a first down for Moss Point and an 18-yard pickup. And now a little pushing and shoving between Tremaine Moore and Tylen Jones.
Keep your composure, Tremaine. We need you this game and the rest of the season. Don't let them intimidate you, because they know they want to take you out of the football game.
7-7 the score, 7 minutes remaining in the second. The Tiger quarterback rolls, now steps up, is hit and dropped. Another sack for Gulfport. If I'm right, that's sack number 3 in the first half, and it was Johnny Spearman, number 7, who did it, number 5, I should say, who did it again.
Well, Bilbo wanted to throw the football, but there was some confusion between Pickens and Simmons on the route. You could see Bilbo was looking, and neither one of them were looking back for the football, and then they both took off. By the time Bilbo, that was more of a mistake sack than it was an aggressive sack by the defensive line.
5-yard loss, second down and 15. And Demarius will drop again. Draw play is what they run. They give it to Keswick Nettles, and it's third down and 15 as the Tigers get nothing. When you have an over-aggressive defense, that play will work, but this is a defense that's pretty much stepping up and they're trying to play contain.
They're not really coming with a lot of pressure. We've already talked about that with Bilbo. And if that's the case, you stay back there. If you're going to throw the football, put him in the gun so he can read. That makes it even harder for these defensive linemen to get to him.
Third down for the Tigers and 15. They just completed a 3rd and 15 last time. They had one. Bilbo with the pressure coming. Steps up in the pocket. Throws. He's got a man, Walker, who had the first down, then ran away from it. The spot, though, will be first down Moss Point. The official on the far side of the field gives him the spot, 16 yards and a first down.
And we were lucky to get that spot because Dennis Walker's personal momentum brought him back. But Brad, that was a good spot, and the officials were not even on there. The officials should have down the field with it, with the call, but it is a first down for Moss Point, and we're going to take that.
Twice now on this drive, the Tigers have had 3rd and 15, and twice Demarius Bilbo has found receivers. First Tremaine Moore and now Dennis Walker. Moss Point with 5:25, clock counting here in quarter number 2 with it 1st and 10 inside the 45-yard line of Gulfport.
One of the fastest first halves we've seen in a long time.
Unbelievable. Walker sort of in motion. They fake the draw. Bilbo rolls near side. Now throws long downfield. Got Tremaine Moore open. Oh, what a catch. Touchdown Tigers. Tremaine Moore twisted his body in midair and made a terrific 44-yard touchdown reception.
And I thought that if he hadn't caught it, it was going to be an interference call, but Charles Hall is playing defensive back on that. And there was no penalty, but there was no need for a penalty because we saw the adjustment Tremaine Moore made in that. That's when we saw him miss a couple of weeks ago, and that was the one that Dennis Walker was on last week, but it was just a little bit too high. The arm spin of Bilbo is fantastic, though.
He threw that one flat-footed.
Flat-footed, just lit the ball. He just zinged it.
And the pretzel-like extension of Tremaine Moore to have the ball over his wrong shoulder and make the adjustment while he was in midair. Sensational. The extra point by Demarius is up, and it is good. 14-7 Moss Point, 5:02 left in quarter number 2. The Tigers 7 plays, 68 yards, 2:49 off the clock. Here's a great view, ground level of it. Watch Bilbo roll, set, and this pass, and catch, and camera work. 3 facets there. The pass, the catch, and the camera work that produced 7 points.
Well, that's candid video, been going on and on and on. Just wind it up and let it keep on ticking.
Bilbo now will kick off, and Josh Johnson will drop deep. You know, if you're really a gambler with Grand Casino in the distance, you try an onside kick.
Because they don't expect, well, you're right, because they certainly won't expect that.
Right to the near side where 62 and 65 are.
Well, Bilbo's asking Coach Alexander something about, must be a football. He wants a different football. They've got certain footballs that they kick.
And now, certain footballs that they throw.
That's right. Now the official threw that one out, though. Something about that football that he didn't like.
It wasn't one of the footballs that they were looking at during the pregame. The controversy over the football looms large here at Milner Stadium.
The ball boy said, "A heck away with me running on and off this field, using up all my energy. I'm gonna throw it. I'm gonna throw the ball in the official. Go get it. If this is gonna be good enough for him."
I'm telling you, 62 and 65 are not expecting an onside kick.
Just as lost as they can be.
You just don't want Josh Johnson to be a factor. He won't be this time as Bilbo. He got the right football.
That's right.
As he kicked it right out of the end zone.
Now, I'll take that. I'm Coach Alexander, special team coach. I'll take that football and find the ball boy and tell him, you put this in your pocket.
That's right. This is the kicking football.
Hey, because if this game get close at the end, this is the ball I want to kick a field goal with. Brad, we might need to do this more often, sit out here to stay.
It's not bad. You know,
but I had to reach under my arm to smell, see if I smell some, though, because I know there's a lot of folks just stayed away from us.
They just don't want to listen to us both tonight and tomorrow.
Well, that's right.
They want to be surprised. First down 10 for Smith, and the Admirals penalty flag before the snap. Too bad because Johnson was knocked for a big loss. I got a phone call this week. Maybe you can answer it for me. Apparently the last couple of weeks, the end of the football games haven't been broadcast. You know anything about that?
No, I don't. And we're talking to Clarence about it. We think it's the cable by the time slot because the games have been longer. And we think that's what it was. I know that Clarence and Candy Video is working on that problem to make sure that the full football game is shown. Yeah, that's one of the things that we, I did get a couple calls about that as well.
A gentleman from Pascagoula made a very nice phone call, left it at the station beginning of the week. He said it was a great game. He was enjoying it. He just hates that he didn't see how it ended, even though he knew how it ended. And also threw kudos to everybody affiliated with Candy Video, including the two of us, if you can believe it, because he really thinks that this is as good a product as you're going to see. The running play there by Crosby was for 1 yard. It's a 2nd down and 4.
And Brad, it used to upset me, but it doesn't, because I even in the Mississippi Press, they talk about and we're glad we have a radio channel now that broadcasts at 570, but they never mention Candy Video where you can see the replay. And that's something I think that all the Morris Point fans and Jackson County and our region ought to be proud of, because you don't get a chance to see good football just one time. You see it twice.
That penalty flag, by the way, a couple plays ago was on Moss Point. That's why it was a 2nd and 4 there after the 1 yard run. Hall, the ball carrier there. He gets out to about the 35-yard line. A gain of almost 9 and a 1st down.
Morris Point's doing a better job of defense than Crosby and Johnson. Hall is the one man that gets loose, and that's Coach Quaver's philosophy, the wing T. You may take 2 away, but you can't take 3 away. And that means I have to keep running plays till I can find who you're going to let beat me. I think you have to make Crosby, number 4, beat you. I don't think from the inside, it's a lot harder to go all the way from the middle than it is from the wings with that speed.
Well, in a weird sort of way, it's like trying to stop the St. Louis Ram football team right now. They're going to throw the ball on 2nd down. It is caught on the far side of the football field. Sip is going to make the tackle on number 20, Stephen Harris. Harris picks up about 5.
That's probably the first time this year, that other than probably last week in the Hattiesburg game when they had to come from behind, that they threw on 1st down.
And when you do that, you loosen the defense again.
That's right. Well, the last couple of plays, if you watch Jason McBeth 45 from his linebacker position, he's actually got into the line of scrimmage to let them know that you got the, and that messes the blocking scheme up. So Coach Quavers, we're going to get McBeth out of that position.
2nd and 5. They give it to the second back through with running room. That's Crosby to midfield. And a 1st down after a 10-yard run by Crosby.
Now, I was looking for a penalty flag. Gulfport actually had Crosby and Hall in motion at the same time before the ball was snapped.
Just inside the 50-yard stripe. 3 minutes remaining here in the 2nd quarter. It's Moss Point 14 and Gulfport 7. And really, neither team has been stopped. They've really stopped themselves.
Penalty flag and one big play by the Moss Point defense, Emmett Johnson.
They give the ball to Hall near side. Hall strings it out and then is hit and pushed backwards. Tremendous hit by Von Travis. Kelly, number 8, went back to the blocking sled there to make the tackle.
I still think one adjustment that Moss Point may want to consider eventually as this game goes on is, we talked about it, is to take maybe the free safety out and put another linebacker in and force Gulfport to try to go one-on-one with his receivers, and I think Tony Silva, Von Travis Kelly can cover any receiver that they have coming out the backfield.
2nd down and 7. They put a receiver to the top of the picture. Slot Hall is to the top as well. They pitch far side. Josh Johnson, they pitched it out far enough where he had some running room. And Johnson, though, is thrown to the turf at the 43 for Dexter Hamilton. Makes the tackle. And there's some celebrating on the far side. There may be a penalty flag, and there is. It's going to be against Moss Point. Face mask will call against the Tigers, and that'll give the Admirals a 1st down.
Well, the decoys work perfect for Gulfport. They send 2 wide receivers out. When you send 2 receivers out, they take the strong safety out of the mix. If it's on that side, and he has to go and cover the receiver one-on-one, and then Gulfport just ran the action, a quick pitch. Moss Point initially had a defense pretty well, but Josh Johnson's speed broke away to get close to the 1st down, and the penalty gave him all of it.
Clock running, minute 50 remaining here in quarter number 2. The Admirals on the move. Now a penalty flag as the Admirals had 2 men moving. The legal procedure call, move it back 5. And if I'm right, that's the first penalty against Gulfport tonight.
Well, they had one offside in our last drive.
So I'm not right. It's 1st and 15 after the 5-yard walk-off. Don't forget, next Friday night we travel up Highway 49 to Hattiesburg to take on the Hattiesburg Tigers in the next to last Region 4 regular season game of the football season. Moss Point and Hattiesburg, Friday night, 7:30. You can watch the rebroadcast right here on Cable One's Cable Channel 13 at 10 a.m. next Saturday morning. On first down and 15, the tackle was made by Jason Macbeth. Timeout is called by Gulfport, and Josh Johnson picked up about 1.5 inches.
And Brad, no, I'm not going to try to make you wrong. That was a clipping penalty in the first drive of Gulfport that they overcame for that touchdown too. In case you were keeping stats.
We got quickie stats inside. I'm getting those at the half. Second down and 13 will be coming for Gulfport, who takes the timeout with 1:26 remaining here in the first quarter. You're looking for a good place to eat after the game? We'll try JJ's too, Moss Point's newest family restaurant. It's open 24 hours with a full menu. Listen to this, Jackie. Sandwiches are as well as full dinners. Breakfast is the specialty, served up in hearty portions for those of us with manly-sized appetites. It's easily located in Amico Drive, immediately across from the Holiday Inn Express, after the game or anytime. JJ2's family restaurant.
Well, Brad, I don't know if I can or not, because they didn't pay for this, but since Clarence and I are both members of St. Peter's Catholic Church, after you finish this broadcast, you need to go out to the Fab booth and get the best gumbo. Won Blue Ribbon 8 years in a row, and we think we're going 9 years in a row with our gumbo, so you need to go on out to that booth and fill yourself up on some of that good gumbo as well.
Josh Johnson is a receiver now to the bottom of your picture on 2nd and 13. The quarterback back, he sets up a screen pass. It is intercepted! Intercepted by the Tigers and picked up by Tredexter Hamilton, who will go in 45 yards for a touchdown. Tredexter Hamilton with the INT, and there's a penalty flag at the 45. Thanks for pointing it out.
And Brad, he was at the 10-yard line when the official came and threw that flag. I don't believe that one. And you know, you can look at the Moss Point coaching staff. That's a garbage call, and that's the one who told me about how they make most of the calls right from bad angles.
That's the one who said it. A clip will be called against the Tigers, take the touchdown away, but Moss Point has the football, and that's the important thing.
It is, but that's a momentum turn right there. And I can see if he threw it right away, but there was nobody near Crosby on this play.
They set up the screen pass and it was deflected. Still couldn't see who got the initial deflection, but Tredexter Hamilton's the man who got the football, and he raced for a touchdown, but it's going to be called back. Nevertheless, the Tigers have the ball at the 40-yard line with 1:14 and all 3 timeouts.
That's what destroys a football game, those officials who are out of position and trying to make a call to make up for being out of position.
Moss Point starts in the I formation. Play action, blitz coming, Bilbo down. 32-yard line, sack, big loss. Sack by Billy Garner. He wears number 74. The Tigers take a timeout after the 9-yard loss.
That was going to be a screen pass to the bottom side of the formation, but we've seen Bilbo a lot more effective when he's in the shotgun. If he's in the shotgun, the Gulfport defense is more of a reading type defense than an aggressive pass rushing defense.
If you came to the game tonight and you want to see yourselves on Candy Video, there's your chance. Oh, it's only the 2 of us. Everybody, we should wave to the camera.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody knows where we are.
I guess if I'd have known that, Brad, I'd have put a cap on or something kind of sort of blind everyone.
Well, you know, that's helping me get a nice reflection.
Oh, thank you, Brad. Is that payback again?
No. No such thing as payback. Good crowd here tonight on the Moss Point side of the football field, and really not much of a crowd on the far side of the field for a game that is as significant as this football game is. Tigers and Admirals both fighting for the top spot in Region 4.
But overall, for Gulfport, it's a pretty good crowd for them.
Second down, 19 yards to go. Tigers have been in second and long most of this football game, but they've been able to escape so far. They went a little misdirection, now throwing long downfield to Tremaine Moore's, pushed and pushed again, and no penalty flag will come down.
And that's the exact same official who just called the clipping penalty. The same official, but down the middle of the football field, Tremaine Moore was triple covered. to the outside, Dennis Walker was by himself. You run Tremaine Moore down the field long like that, and you circle a back out the backfield and run something short, he could have 30 to 40 yards without anyone close to him on the sideline.
The only thing they could potentially say, and I'm not trying to speak for the officials here, is the ball was uncatchable. That's the only thing they could potentially.
But that's not the rule in high school football.
I know. Two receivers, top of the picture, shotgun formation for the Tigers, 3rd down and 19. Bilbo back, blitz coming, screen pass set up. Fairley, 35. Fairley cuts it inside, gets back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 4th down and 10. If Moss Point is smart, the Tigers just let the clock run. Gulfport seems to be in no hurry to call a timeout.
And Moss Point can take his time. We're going to look at the clock and see.
32 seconds.
I don't understand.
Well, I'd throw the bomb.
Well, if you're going to do it, that's what you do. But now Moss Point is taking his time.
They'll take a timeout. They'll call timeout probably with 2 seconds left on the 25-second clock.
Well, unless you're going to go over now, Brett, I'll tell you, if it were me now, it'll be 6 seconds to go there about when this clock, when the clock is called timeout.
All right, Tigers take a timeout with 9 seconds remaining.
Oh, they called it a little early. I think
yeah, well, they had to watch 25-second clock. And
that's what I was looking at 25. I thought it was anyway. Maybe I can't count. But now I would go for it now, because if you throw the ball long to, and Moss Point has a couple of plays that the little flea flickers or whatever to throw now. But I think you do. Remember the pass that Moss Point threw last week against West Monroe?
Yep.
Where Tremaine Moore started on the inside, the pass that we had early in this football game that he gave up on. I think you run that same. You can run that same pass right now, and that pass would be wide open for a big touchdown.
Did you like that little flea flicker we ran a couple plays ago, by the way?
Well, I didn't think that's as effective because they know you're going to throw the football. I think you do that earlier in the football game when they think the threat of the run is still evident.
Well, the Tigers come out, and they put Walker at the bottom of the picture. Simmons will go up top. They'll put Fairley and Anderson in the backfield. Tremaine Moore is going to be lined up strong side, top of your screen. Hall, number 7, will be the safety who's 30 yards away from the line of scrimmage. Bilbo shotgun. The key is protection here, which they get. Across the middle, it's complete to Simmons, 35-yard line. Simmons with 2-1, now call timeout. The Tigers took timeout before the horn sounded. What will the official do? He'll say we're at the half. 25-yard pickup, 1st and 10. So halftime here at Milner Stadium in Gulfport. The score, Moss Point 14 and Gulfport 7. Your halftime activities are next. This is Tiger Football 2000 on Cable One's Cable Channel 13.
You can travel from coast to coast, and still you may never find a better deal on car insurance than the one you'll find right in your own neighborhood. Because right now, your local State Farm agent is offering new policyholders substantial discounts on car insurance. So now you can get all the benefits of a discount rate, plus all the benefits of State Farm's friendly personal service, wherever you call home. Call a State Farm agent today to learn how much you can save on insurance from the world's leading car insurer.
Looking for a fun place to eat after the game? Try JJ's 2, Moss Point's newest family restaurant. We're open 24 hours with a full menu, sandwiches as well as full dinners. Breakfast is our specialty, served up in hearty portions for those with manly-sized appetites. We're easily located on Amico Drive, immediately across from the Holiday Inn Express. After the game or at any time, come and dine at JJ's 2, your family restaurant. Want to avoid the long lines and the heat of the day when trying to cash your payroll check? Then come to A&B Check Cashers, located in the Southgate Shopping Center at the intersection of Main Street and Jefferson Street in Moss Point. A&B would be happy to cash your checks courteously and quickly. At A&B, you can wire money to anyone, any place, anytime. A&B Check Cashers, Moss Point.
Hospice is one of the options available to patients and their families who are confronted with end-of-life issues. With us today is RN Donna Coleman, Patient Care Coordinator for We Care Hospice, to tell us more about hospice care. Donna, what patients are eligible for your hospice program?
In general, Any patient with a certifiable terminal illness with a prognosis of 6 months or less may be eligible for enrollment in our hospice program. The term terminal illness may include diagnoses that include, but are not limited to, heart disease, lung disease, Alzheimer's disease, liver disease, AIDS, kidney disease, and many other disease processes. There may actually be a combination of 2 disease processes that will certify a patient as terminal.
Thank you, Donna. If you have any questions regarding hospice care, phone We Care Hospice for more information and, if possible, refer We Care Hospice when caring matters most.
The band in the crowd here on the west side of the stadium here in Gulfport as the Tigers lead the Admirals 14-7. I'm going to resurrect something, Jackie. It's the Jackie Dito halftime stat show as we go back 9 years.
Well, I'll tell you that's a travel back in the history of time. I've been on see old Jackie saw out at the booth. She and her husband working it this week. I keep telling them we need her back with our stats.
I just wish Bert had the stats completely right because he had in Moss Point 20, Gulfport 7. It's Moss Point 14, Gulfport 7. That interception return for a touchdown didn't count, but Moss Point did have 11 first downs in the first half. They ran for 51, threw for 138. In the first half, Demarius Bilbo 7 of 13, I should say, for those 138 yards and threw 1 touchdown pass in the football game, a 44-yard strike to Tremaine Moore. Defensively, the Tigers have given up 8 first downs. Gulfport has 88 yards rushing, 26 through the air. The ground gain leader for the Gulfport Admirals is Tavares Crosby, has 44 yards rushing. Both Pickens and Fairley lead the Tigers. They each have 18 yards on the ground. And we are ready for the second half of this huge Region 4 battle. Moss Point and Gulfport. Again, the Tigers lead 14-7. And Demarius Bilbo has the ball on the tee going from the south to the north. And that kick sails into the end zone. And so Gulfport will have it 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line.
Well, the most important part to start the second half was which football was Bilbo going to have to kick off, and that's the special football.
Almost felt like halftime was as long as the first half, if you want to know the truth. It was almost 30 minutes long, wasn't it?
With only one band playing.
And so the Gulfport Admirals, led by Chris Smith, the quarterback, 6'3", 185-pound junior. I'm sure we'll see him again next year. Come to the line of scrimmage. Crosby is the back behind him. They put Hall in motion. They give the ball to Crosby, though, and the Tiger defense was ready for it.
There we go.
Moss Point led by number 55, Darius Fountain. No gain on the play, 2nd down.
And you see on the defense, number 31, Albert Dickerson, who's been one of the mainstays of the defense all year from his strong safety position, was up on the tackle. And I noticed what Albert did, and that's a good move. He went after the football. He tried to put his helmet and his shoulder right on the football to knock it out of Crosby's hands.
2nd down and 10 yards to go for Gulfport. Johnson, the man in motion. Johnson gets the ball, trying the left side, starts inside, darts outside, and Andrew Smoke said no. Andrew Smoke drops the running back for a 3-yard loss. I mentioned at halftime, we haven't called his name yet. Got it away.
You know, the offensive lineman is, and I played it, they could be some dirty people. Number 6, Patrick Martin, weighs 215. Kevin Jones, the safety for Moss Point, number 12, was laying on the ground. And he's on, listen, 5'5", 140. He was trying to get up, and he walked by him and put his hand on his helmet and pushed it right back down in front of the official.
You were never dirty when you played offensive.
I'm not talking. I'm not talking.
You would never have done that.
I'm not talking.
3rd down and long. Quarterback drops back to pass. He's looking, steps up, throws downfield, incomplete. He tried to hit the receiver he hit earlier, Stephen Harris, but the ball was underthrown. Good Tiger coverage, good pressure, 4th down.
And you can tell that the coaching staff from the defensive side, Luther Kirkendall, Jackie McCarvin, John Toms, they challenged the defensive line to do a better job and to start the second half, and they did a great job. We talked about Andrew Smoke. He came up and made a big play, but the linebackers stayed right at home, and it allowed him to go down the line and stop Johnson on that little wing back reverse.
Wes Baker, another high snap, but he brings it down, gets it off. The ball is at the 40-yard line, now the 45, and now midfield. Baker does a tremendous job of bringing the ball in, first of all, and then kicking it away. Officially a kick of 37 yards. Moss Point, though, great field position from its 49.
All coaches say the first series of plays from both sides of the football to start a half is the most important.
We learned that last week. Shotgun Moss Point, 1st and 10. Bilbo back. Time across the middle, intercepted. He threw it behind Sherrod Pickens, and it was picked up by Robert Walker. Walker returns it 5 yards to the 47 of Moss Point.
And I'm glad Walker slipped because he had an easy touchdown. Bilbo didn't really zip that one, but Walker made a great defensive play. You look at the INT, but Walker made a great defensive play. He read the play all the way from and had Sherrod Pickens covered like a blanket.
And with a 1-touchdown lead, the Tiger defense must stiffen here. 1st and 10, Gulfport inside Moss Point territory. They give it on 1st down to Crosby, and Andrew Smoke grabs Crosby, who carries him down to about the 43, gain of almost 4 yards.
Well, we saw the first series from both sides on the offensive side didn't do a thing. Both series from the defensive side, they played fantastic football.
2nd down coming up, 2nd down and a long 6 yards to go. Glad you could join us here on Cable One.
We challenged the crowd last week, and we getting the first-hand information by sitting up here how quiet the crowd is right now.
2nd down, Josh Johnson, far side of the football field, found a seam, goodbye. It's 14-13, touchdown, Josh Johnson. Started inside, darted outside, and the Tigers couldn't force him out of bounds, and he was gone.
And the defensive players from Moss Point thought he was going out of bounds, and they just stopped. But Chris Smith did something that's very not sportsman at all. He looked over at the Moss Point bench and the coaching staff, and he gave him a fist. Like, we get ready to come after you, then that's not being a good sportsman, Chris Smith, and that'll come back to haunt you, son.
Extra point attempt coming here to tie the game. High snap, the ball's down, kick is up and good. 9:23 left in the 3rd quarter, and it's 14-14. And didn't we see a run like that just 1 week ago with speed to burn?
That's what we did. And I know one thing that the Moss Point coaching staff should have talked about at halftime. They didn't remember how Gulfport came back against Hattiesburg last week. And, I mean, they had a tremendous lead. Moss Point defense did everything it had to do on the first series of downs. Got the football in good territory right on its side of the 50-yard line, but on the first play gave it right back, and Gulfport, being the potent type of offensive team it is, capitalized.
After an interception by Walker, the Admirals go 2 plays, 47 yards. 50 seconds later, they tie the game on the 43-yard touchdown run by Josh Johnson. A week ago was a 39-yard touchdown run by J.J. Johnson that got West Monroe going. Walton has the ball in the air. From the 1-yard line, it's Von Travis Kelly. Kelly looks for the seam, is not going to find it, and is not going to find the 20-yard line. 17-yard return to the 18, 1st and 10 Tigers.
Now, Bilbo's a seasoned quarterback. He has to shake it off, shake the interception off, shake the score off, to come back and make a big play. We don't want to keep harping on that interception. It should have been a touchdown for Moss Point, but I think that was a turning point of the game. The Gulfport would have been much flatter, and I think Moss Point would have had a lot more zip about itself than what it did to start the second half.
Bilbo on 1st down, sets up a screen pass near side. He's got the pass to Pickens. Pickens got a couple blockers. Pickens to the 40-yard line already. Pickens out to the 45. A gain of 27 and a 1st down for Moss Point.
And if I like to see Pickens, I like to see him in the passing game. He can use his speed, cutting ability. He gives you a lot of the same action that Josh Johnson does. We know Pickens has tremendous speed, but I think that was a good play call by Coach Lee to sell his quarterback down after the INT to come back and have him to throw probably the safest throws that a quarterback can make.
Tigers have it 1st and 10. They bring Simmons in motion. They hand the ball off to Keswick Nettles, and Nettles dropped the football. It was stripped away from Nettles, and the Admirals have it at the 44-yard line. Keswick Nettles fighting for yardage. It was stripped away from him, and it's 1st and 10 Gulfport, though there really hasn't been a seal. Now there is.
But this second half is starting almost like the second half started last week. As Morris Point had mistake after mistake to start the second half, couple of poor punts, and then all of a sudden, Morris Point had a tie football game, and that's where we were last week at this time, 14-14.
8:46 left in the third. The fans starting to get a little antsy in front of us. They give the ball up the gut. The Tigers were ready for it as Marquise Macbeth and Andrew Smoke bring down Crosby after a 1-yard pickup.
Well, Brad, the adjustment that we talked about, what would Tigers probably make at halftime? I'm noticing something now. I want you to watch the safeties. Kevin Jones was actually blocked 5 yards in the backfield, and they're committing up quicker than what they were doing before. I saw after the touchdown, Luther Kirkendall had his safeties talking to him on the sideline, and that's the adjustment, is to get the safeties to come up much quicker.
Double wing on this second down. Johnson, the man in motion. He gets the handoff. He's hit, and now he's going to be thrown backward. It was Tredexter Hamilton who initially hit the running back behind the line of scrimmage, and then the Tigers with Duckworth leading the charge along with Darius Fountain throw him back for a huge loss. That's really a bad spot if you want to want the truth. A terrible spot for Gulfport.
I was going to say the same thing, Brad. I was waiting for you to finish talking because the officials again, and I hope that the Mississippi High School Athletic Association don't get a copy of this film and look at the position of the head linesman and the field judge, because they're really out of position on most of these spots.
7-yard loss. He really only lost about 3. Third down. They go screen pass outside. Crosby from about the 48-yard line cannot get back to the original line of scrimmage. He does get to the 45. It brings up a 4th down and 11 yards to go, and the Tiger defense has done exactly what it had to do.
Came back and made a big play, but Tredexter Hamilton and Emmett Johnson. And Emmett Johnson is a smaller guy. They have him listed as 5'5", 195 pounds. I don't know if he's 195 pounds, but it look like these number 5s love to play right over the center head.
Waiting on the punt. Good snap for the first time. Penalty flag down. Tigers almost got to it. The ball's going to sail out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Now we wait to see what the penalty was on the near sideline.
I'm thinking it must be a legal formation, not enough men on the line of scrimmage.
And it is illegal procedure. And after the troubles they've had snapping the football tonight, and the Tigers almost got to that one, if I'm Jerry Alexander, I'd say punt again.
Well, I think so, but it looks like Morris Point is going to go ahead and start scrimmaging from right there. I don't think the guy has that stronger leg. And Morris Point was going to actually gain yards, Brad. I don't think anyone saw it. They were going to gain about 8 yards because the down marker had already left. And when he was going back, he was trying to find a spot. He actually was back where Charles Hall is, and that was about 7, 8 yards behind the original mark.
Tigers will line up 1st and 10. Tie football game at 14 with 6:39 left here in the third. And they're going to run it on 1st down. Pickens found a seam. Pickens 5, Pickens 8, 9 yards before he's brought down. It'll be a 2nd down and 2 as they put it back to the 29.
The offensive line for the Morris Point Tigers has done a great job all year. This is where the offensive line has to take over the football game. I think they have to block Gulfport, get them by running the football and make them know that we can run the football as well, and that'll take those linebackers out of the mix.
Demetrius Anderson gets the handoff, and Anderson finds running room, bounces like a lumberjack off of tacklers from the 29 to the 37, 8 yards and a 1st down.
I tell you, I love Demetrius Anderson running. I've been saying that. Looked at him last year on the sideline, and I said to one, now what in the world is a guy that size doing on the sideline? We need some. If he can run at all, he needs to be on that field. Look like we got offside.
I was going to say no penalty flag, but now one comes down from the umpire, who would not be able to see that nearly offside.
These mental mistakes now really is hurting the Morris Point Tigers. Instead of second and long, at least it's first and long.
How often does the umpire call false start?
Well, he watches the interior of the offensive line, and for most of the center and the guards, and if they move at all, that means one of the guards probably took off, or even the center maybe did a little false snapping with it.
First and 15. Shotgun formation. Simmons will come in motion for the Tigers. Bilba, time, looks, sets up, screen pass again. He's got Pickens, and Pickens is chased down by Walker, who had the interception a little while ago, out to about the 42-yard line. Fans are looking for maybe a face mask. They're not going to get it. It's going to bring up a 2nd down and 6.
I don't think that's what they were looking for, Brad. Walker went through 3 offensive linemen. Morris Point had 3 blockers in front of Pickens, and he ran right through. They were doing what we called in the old days sightseeing. The offensive lineman let Walker just go right through him, and one of them turned around and hit him. Pickens get about 12 to 15 more yards.
2nd down and 7 is how they mark it at the 41-yard line. I formation set, Moss Point, tight formation. Back to pass, pressure coming, hit as he throws it downfield to Armstead, incomplete at the 35. The pressure coming from number 47, Chris McNair.
And McNair brings a load. He's already committed, I think, to Southern Mississippi, so that tell you that they see a lot of potential. But, of course, Southern Mississippi love the linebackers that come out of Gulfport.
Yep.
Rod Smith is starting up there. They also have Cedric Scott, who's playing defensive end, having a wonderful season for the Golden Eagles.
Tigers will go 3rd down and 7. Under center is Bilbo. Rolling, far side, being chased. Throws, got a man wide open, complete. Simmons inside the 40, down to the 37-yard line. 1st down, Moss Point, and the gain is for 14 yards.
And fans, Gulfport guessed wrong. Ronnie Cuevas' staff thought that Bilbo was going to have something to the left side of the formation. McNair came on that end. Bilbo rolled to the right, and that's what the advantage of having a mobile quarterback. We've seen that in Clemson with Woody Dantzler, who's turned into one of the better quarterbacks we've seen in college football this year.
My mistake, 22 yards is the pickup. 1st and 10 from the 37. Bilbo, inside handoff. And going for about 2 yards was Anthony Simmons.
Well, Gulfport's getting a good array of the Morris Point playbook. Morris Point's throwing every play it has at Gulfport, trying to catch them off balance or over pursuing. But again, like you said earlier, Brad, this Gulfport defense is more of a reading defense instead of an attacking type defense.
Moss Point goes shotgun on 2nd down and 8. Bilbo stepping up, looking some more. Now decides to run. Got the 1st down, got a blocker, and he's taken down at about the 10-yard line. Demetrius Bilbo gets 25 yards, and for the Tigers, it'll be either 1st and 10 or 1st and goal.
Robert Walker wish he had an opportunity to tackle him again. He tried to just throw a shoulder on Demarius Bilbo, and Bilbo just put that arm down to guard it. But Bilbo has got to learn to put that football away. I know he has big hands, he's strong, but he's got to learn to put that football away when he starts feeling contact to be tackled. We saw that fumble like that last week that cost Morris Point in good field position.
1st and goal is how they spot it, just inside the 10-yard line. 1st down, Anderson the ball carrier, and that play was ugly from before they snapped it.
They never got started at all on that play. The offensive line tried to get in the unbalanced line, and Gulfport just pinched down. That's scouting and coaching. They saw the film. They knew what Morris Point's tendency was that when they go unbalanced line, and McNair just crashed the line of scrimmage. And they talk about McNair being a good linebacker. This Robert Walker's impressive.
Walker to the top, Simmons to the bottom. 2nd down and goal from the 10. Demarius back, sets, hit, sacked. Back at the 16-yard line, getting in was Patrick Martin. That is at least a half dozen sacks tonight for Gulfport. And they're only rushing 4.
And we saw Mossburn early in this season where Bilbo he had all day to throw the football. But since the Harrison Central game, Mossburn's had a lot of trouble with protecting Bilbo.
Penalty flag comes down on 3rd down and goal, and the Tigers are going to get penalized again. It'll be 3rd and 21 after this walk-off.
Mossburn did some wholesale substitutions in the offensive line, and the offensive linemen are getting, I don't know if they're getting intimidated or what, but right now they're losing the snap count and they're moving much quicker, not watching the football. The old rule of thumb, if you forget the snap count, watch the football.
Pickens and Anderson are the backs. Simmons is in motion. Bilbo sets, throws toward the end zone for Moore. He overthrew him. Penalty flag comes down. Being hit in the helmet was the tight end Tremaine Moore by Jarrell Chapman.
Well, that was our friend, the official back there that time, and just please don't say offensive interference. And it was a good call because Tremaine Moore was being hit.
On a pass that was not going to be caught, he got hit in the helmet. And that's an automatic first down. That's a drive-saving penalty. Put the ball back to the 10.
Did we just start here?
First and goal again. Demarius will run draw play. Pickens to the outside. Got a block to the 5. Touchdown Tigers. Sherrod Pickens goes in from 10 and got a great block on the outside from Dennis Walker.
O'Connor Trey type played in where they just give it to the starter in and then float to the outside, and he followed his blockers to perfection.
So Moss Point responds the way the Tigers do best.
The defense made a big play, Brad, to stop Gulfport on this last series, and that's what set the offense in motion.
Demarius Bilbo's extra point is up, and it is good. 1:49 remains here in quarter number 3. Moss Point leads Gulfport 21-14 after an 11-play, 79-yard drive that ate up 4 minutes and 50 seconds.
Well, talk about the offensive line on a couple plays prior to that, not really blocking as well. They did a good job then because they sealed them. They sealed Gulfport's defense right at the line of scrimmage. And Pickens didn't have nothing but daylight. He didn't feel no defensive pressure or no play until he was at about the 2-yard line.
Sherrod Pickens' second touchdown run of the night, the first one of 12 yards, this one of 10. And Moss Point leads by a touchdown here with 1:49 left in quarter number 3. I want to remind you fans that Metamart Pharmacy is a proud sponsor of Tiger football. If you suffer with diabetes and do home blood glucose monitoring and you have Medicare Part B, you may get your diabetic testing supplies from Metamart Pharmacy for little, if any, out-of-pocket expense. Metamart Pharmacy, a proud sponsor of Tiger football. The kickoff is end over end, but this time it is short. It bounces at the 12. It's taken at the 10 by Josh Johnson with a head of steam. Johnson finds some running room, gets across the 30 and out to about the 32-yard line before he was tackled by Darrell Sewer.
He is scary. I mean, Johnson is scary on returning kicks. Moss Point overall has done a pretty good job of containing him tonight. Not from scrimmage, but from the kickoff.
They put it at the 33, first down and 10.
But Brad, you know what I'd like to see?
You would like to see an interception.
No, well, I'd like to see Josh Johnson have to return 5 more kickoffs.
Oh, there you go. I like that. Double wing first down. They give it up front, and Jason Macbeth hits the running back Crosby. Tigers say the ball came free, and now the officials are ruling it down at the 35-yard line.
And guess what, fans? It was a good call. He was down.
Mark this moment down on your videotapes, folks. Jackie Elliott said the officials did something right.
Now, don't say that, Brad. Nah.
because we know that 99% of the time they do.
They make good calls. They, like we were talking, they're human and they're going to make mistakes too. But as long as they're honest mistake, you got to play through it.
Yep. Second down and 8. And the ball just outside the 35-yard line. Johnson up the gut this time. And oh, did he get hit by Macbeth. Jason Macbeth hammered Josh Johnson to the turf after a half-yard pickup.
Well, I bet Josh Johnson's going to tell Chris Smith, look here. I scored around the end, not up the middle. I don't weigh but 140 pounds, man. Don't call that play anymore. I don't care what the coaches call. You the quarterback, you need to audible that.
I saw Jason Macbeth before the football game tonight. He came over, got some water. And he just had this look about him.
Yeah. He's determined to get a ring.
Third down and 6. Double reverse. They give it to Johnson outside. Look out. Josh Johnson, Albert Dickerson is there to stop him. And it's because of Dickerson the ball came free. And the Tigers have recovered. Dickerson slowed him up. Was it Macbeth who knocked it free? No, it was Tredexter Hamilton who knocked it free. And the Tigers have recovered the Josh Johnson fumble at the 16.
Tredexter Hamilton did not give up, even though it looked like Josh Johnson should have been hit at the line of scrimmage or in the backfield, but they never gave up. Albert Dickerson slowed him up enough, and Tredexter Hamilton used that closing speed to come and knock the ball loose. And Marquise Macbeth, number 54, makes the recovery.
11 seconds remain here in the third quarter. The Tigers have it on the 16. It was a 49-yard run by Josh Johnson, but hit from behind and coughs it up. On first down, they give it to Brandon Fountain for the first time tonight. He gets out to the 24-yard line, and that is how the third quarter will come to a close. Now through 3 quarters of play here from Milner Stadium in Gulfport. And it's the Moss Point Tigers, ranked number 2 in Mississippi, leading the Gulfport Admirals 21-14. The fourth quarter is next, and you're watching Tiger Football 2000 on Cable 1's Cable Channel 13.
You can travel from coast to coast, and still you may never find a better deal on car insurance than the one you'll find right in your own neighborhood. Because right now, your local State Farm agent is offering new policyholders substantial discounts on car insurance. So now you can get all the benefits of a discount rate, plus all the benefits of State Farm's friendly personal service, wherever you call home. Call a State Farm agent today to learn how much you can save on insurance from the world's leading car insurer.
We often talk about adjustments. The Tigers made one. Johnson went for a touchdown of 43 yards. The safety wasn't in position. Albert Dickerson was that time. He slowed him down, and the Tigers ended up forcing a fumble. Brandon Fountain, the ball carrier, hit 5 or 6 times, bounces around like a pinball, but gets to the 30-yard line, and that is a first down.
Bilbo actually faked it to Fountain on the dive and was running an option play. Gulfport closed good. Bilbo just got 3 or 4 yards, got the first down from Morris Point, and Robert Walker is down on the turf, and that's one player Gulfport could afford to lose at this stage of this football game.
You asked me how many yards Gulfport has tonight. They have 209 according to Quickie Stats from Bert Sostrom. The Tigers of Moss Point tonight, and 43 offensive plays, 302 yards of offense, 195 through the air and 107 on the ground. Pickens leads the Tigers with 36 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Bilbo is now 10 of 18 for 195 and still that 144-yard touchdown pass to Tremaine Moore.
And at 107 total yards, at least Pickens' yards are 36 leading the team. That's a little misleading when you look at the number of ball players that Morris Point has carried the football. If Pickens carries the football all these times, he's probably close to 100 yards.
First down for the Tigers. Moss Point has it at the 30-yard line. And Bilbo will roll near side. Pumps, looks, pumps again, gets a block from Fountain and runs out of bounds as he reaches the 39-yard line, about a half yard short of the first down.
Well, his receivers were covered. That's a smart play by Demarius Bilbo. Don't force nothing. You take what you can get and get out of bounds, and let's reset it again. And then good run again by Demarius Bilbo.
That would have been a little smarter if he would have gone across the 40 when he stepped out of bounds rather than behind the 40.
Well, if that had been 4th down, I agree with you. Persistence, just 2nd down coming up.
11:31 remains. 2nd down, 1 Moss Point. And the Tiger quarterback will keep, and Demarius Bilbo gets to the 43-yard line. Had a huge hole, and he exploited it for 3 and a first.
Just wanted to get the 1st down, and that's just being smart football. Now, don't do nothing fancy. You've got the lead. You're moving the football. You know Gulfport has an explosive offense. Moss Point needs to just grind it out to try to get something on the board.
The last 3 plays have been runs by the quarterback, Demarius Bilbo. Fountain is the up back, or the deep back, I should say, in the eye. Now they split. It's now Kez Nettles, and Nettles gets the pitch outside, and the Tigers' small little scat bat gets out to midfield, and that's a gain of almost 7 yards, and that was a audible at the line of scrimmage by the quarterback.
And I was watching Brandon Fountain out blocking. I was so afraid that the officials may have called some type of holding, his hands kind of extended away from his body, but the defensive player was just so quick, I think Brandon missed it, and I'm glad he did.
2nd down and a long 3 yards to go for Moss Point. Demarius Bilbo back, sets, tosses it near side. Dennis Walker, 43-yard line, turns it upfield, is run out of bounds as it reaches the 38. The Tigers have another 13 yards and a 1st down.
Well, Frank Davis, number 34, was victimized again. He's trying to play him to the inside. Dennis Walker made a good, crisp move to the outside to get the 1st down.
And good touch on the football by the senior quarterback. Walker stays the game, bottom of your picture. Up top will go Anthony Simmons. Nettles and Fountain are the running back tandem on this drive. The Tigers going north to south here at Milner Stadium. Bilbo, 3-step drop, he pumps, throws across the middle, wide open, Simmons at the 15, makes a move at the 10, 5, touchdown Tigers! Anthony Simmons goes in for 38, a terrific pump and go, and a great move by Simmons.
Bilbo initially wanted to throw the football to the outside to Tremaine Moore, and he read that Tremaine Moore was covered, and he came back and found his secondary receiver, and he hit Tony Simmons with a bullet.
That is Tiger football. And that is a 2-touchdown lead with 10:13 remaining.
Good blocking again by the offensive line to give Bilbo time to step up in the pocket and throw a strike.
And like the Red Sea parting, the middle was wide open. The extra point is good. 28-14 is the score. Moss Point just went 84 yards in 7 plays. A $1.58 off the clock. The final 38 on the pass from Bilbo to Simmons.
Well, earlier this season, the plays Moss Point run early in this season and in this game is what accounted for that. We've seen Tremaine Moore run a lot of out and up patterns.
Here it is again. There's the pump and wide open across the middle. Look at how nobody was within 6 yards of him. And then Simmons made a beautiful adjustment at the 8-yard line to go the final 8 for a touch.
Well, overall, I think our question has been answered of how Moss Point was going to respond tonight after the tough loss last week to the number 12 team in the nation, number 1 in Louisiana. Moss Point has come back and played overall a pretty good football game. Had to make some defensive adjustments from early in this game. It's not over yet, but Moss Point certainly is in the driver's seat right now.
And another driving kick that Josh Johnson tries to keep in play. It goes into the end zone. It'll be a touchback, and the ball will be at the 20.
I don't know if I've ever seen anybody try to tip the ball back into the field of play when you're the offensive man so you can try to run it.
The guy wants the football. Not only have the Tigers proven something from one week to the next, how about from the struggles of the beginning of this second half they bounced back from?
Right.
The Tigers had an interception on their first play, then a fumble. They let Gulfport right back in the football game. And when you thought momentum was on the Admirals side, the Tigers struck back in a big way, first with a touchdown, then with a great defensive play, then a beautiful drive, 2 minutes. And a touchdown. Gulfport has it from the 20, 1st and 10. Now they have to start throwing the football, and the first pass is incomplete.
Brad, to comment real quick about what you said a second ago, I think that's the maturity and experience of the coaching staff. You see, the coaching staff didn't panic because of the early mistakes, and they didn't have flashbacks to last week. They immediately just got their team on the sideline. I watched some of the coaches go to the different players, the skill positions, and then some of the linemen, and told them about, just, hey, settle down, settle down, settle down. We just play Morris Point football, and we'll do okay.
They didn't have flashbacks, but a lot of the fans around us had some flashbacks. We heard it. 2nd down and 10. They put Johnson in motion, and they run the option play. The quarterback, Smith, has to keep it because there was great pressure by Andrew Smoke, and then it was Darius Fountain who makes the tackle at the line of scrimmage.
You and I included, Brad, along with the fans. You see, that's the difference. We don't know Morris Point football players inside like the coaches. The coaches have been dealing with them just for this year probably since August or July, really, and all summer from the weight program. So they know what's inside of their ball players, and they don't have to panic because they know them when we don't.
3rd down and 10, Smith back, sets, looking, throws to the outside, has a receiver, and the Tigers are all over it. Albert Dickerson, who's played a terrific football game, is going to bring down Derek Warfield well short of the 1st down.
Chris Smith is Gulfport's offensive line doing something that we hadn't seen. I don't think we've had a sack on him tonight. And Chris Smith, because he hadn't thrown too much, and I think Morris Point defensive scheme may have been more to try to protect from him doing something than the reverses from Josh Johnson and Charles Hall, for which Coach Quavers is they've all been taking Charles Hall out of this ball game.
There's the punt. And Von Travis Kelly from the 38-yard line. Kelly tries to dance away. Penalty flag comes down. We have a penalty flag at the 48-yard line. Von Travis Kelly went backward 3 yards after he caught the football.
What is this? When he threw the flag 10, 15 yards, nobody.
Maybe he just didn't want to heave the flag that far down, and he didn't. It's a clipping penalty against the Tigers. I had a feeling that was what the call was going to be. He just didn't want to get accused of throwing a flag at somebody.
Well, he came over to Coach Kirkendall, and Coach K just kind of shook his hand. He's not going to say much. He just kind of shook his head and walked away from it. But the defense, again, did its job. The offense scored, and the defense did its job. And, Brad, the thing that we talked about in football, that hit and force that help win football games, special teams, Morris Point has done a real good job in special teams tonight.
Anderson is the deep back for the Tigers on 1st down. And the Tigers are going to run the football with the quarterback. Bilbo looks now, throws wide open, is at the 38-yard line. Fairley breaks a tackle. Fairley all the way to the 46-yard line. 26-yard play for Moss Point as Alonzo Fairley found himself wide open.
Maturity of Demarius Bilbo, number 10, the quarterback. Before tonight, before this season, Demarius would have taken down and run the football. Demarius stopped, knew he had receivers in the pattern, just flipped it to Fairley. Good 1st down play.
Bilbo back, sets, gonna go long. He's got Simmons open at the 15, Simmons at the 10, and run out of bounds. Run out of bounds at the 11-yard line. 44-yard gain, 1st down, Moss Point.
Do you think Frank Davis is going to have nightmares on these Morris Point receivers? He's had the interference call, I think, against Demarius Bilbo to get Morris Point up 14-7. Victimized by Anthony Simmons a few minutes ago. Sherrod Pickens faked him out of his jock strap earlier. Poor Frank Davis.
And the Tigers are going to throw it again. Bilbo back, looking, throws, incomplete. Look for Dennis Walker right at the pylon. He was being pressured by number 47, Chris McNair.
You normally don't throw the football or throw a screen pass when you're this close. But with the action of Bilbo in this offense right now, you screen pass that same action and screen pass it back to Pickens or run it back to the left. Farrell's in the game. It's an easy 6.
You normally don't throw the football when you're up 8-46 and by 2 touchdowns. You have the ball at your 20-yard line, and yet the Tigers are going for the kill right now. 2nd down and 10 from the 11. They run the ball this time with Demetrius Anderson, and Anderson got 1, and that was it. He got to the 10-yard line before he was brought down by Dwight Butler.
Well, the thinking on that pass pattern is this. You just hit them for a bum, your long pass pattern. They got to be reeling back. They're going to be looking for the run. So if I could try to throw some type of pass right now, I might catch them flat-footed and get it. The only difference, all 3 of the receivers, it was the short side of the field, were within a probably 5 to 8-yard area, which 4 defenders were easy to cover.
Walker's up top, Simmons bottom of the picture. And on 3rd down, Bilbo back. Pressure coming. He tosses it toward the end zone. It is caught by Tremaine Moore for a touchdown, a penalty flag on the play.
And he's
going to call offensive pass interference.
And that's got to be that's another pitiful call.
Offensive pass interference is the call. It's the 2nd time the officials have taken a touchdown away from Moss Point tonight.
First thing in high school football, you can't face guard. Tremaine Moore was being face guarded, and when Tremaine Moore stopped, he just turned around and came back. And you know it's got to be something, because Moss Point coaching staff is usually a very calm coaching staff, and they jumped up on that one. That is about as that's what's wrong with football, with officials that make calls like that. And again, the reason that he made the call is because he was out of position.
And the Tigers will take a timeout with 7:32 remaining. The ball's at the 25-yard line. The Tigers will have it 3rd down and 24. Fans avoid the long lines in the heat of the day when trying to cash your payroll check. A&B Check Cashers, located in the Westgate Shopping Center at the intersection of Main Street, Jefferson Street, and Moss Point, would be happy to cash your checks courteously. Any place you wish. A&B Check Cashers, proud sponsors of Moss Point Tiger football. We also want to thank the city of Moss Point, the River City, the Office of the Mayor, the Board of Aldermen, all the city employees for sponsoring Tiger football.
Brad, is that a loss of down, offensive pass interference?
Offensive pass interference is a loss of down.
I didn't
it was last week, it is this week. And so the Tigers will try a field goal.
The key now is not to give Gulfport an easy one. Block hard, get this kick off. Don't let it be blocked and run back.
It'll be a 42-yard field goal attempt by Demarius Bilbo. It's a good snap. The ball's down, low kick, and it's not going to get there. And so the Admirals have dodged a huge bullet, and Tremaine Moore lays on the turf at the 33-yard line.
And that's another sorry call to official. Charles Hall came in and took his helmet and ran right into Tremaine Moore rib cage. That is about as unsportsmanlike as you can get. I wish we had a replay on that one if I saw it correct. Now, I don't want to blame Hall if something he didn't do, but you could tell the concern of the Moss Point staff at what happened. Charles Hall came and lowered his helmet because he hit the holder. I mean, you got to protect the holder as well as the kicker. You can't just let someone come and take a cheap shot at him.
7:28 remaining. 7:28 remaining, 28-14 is the score. The Tigers just had a touchdown called back, the 2nd touchdown that Moss Point's had called back tonight. But now the concern is for Tremaine Moore, who is limping off the football field. And it would be the right leg that we're concerned about at this point.
And Charles Hall wanted to get him out the football game, so he took a cheap shot at him because there's nowhere in the world you should even have to go after the kicker. The holder, at least. The football is going to be out in front of you, the trajectory of the football.
It could be the most serious injury Tigers have faced all year as Tremaine Moore comes to the bench in front of us. From the 20, Smith and Gulfport 1st down. They're going to run the ball, and the Tiger defense now snuffing out the run every time they try to go with Crosby. And a penalty flag?
Well, another shot by the Gulfport Admirals. Let's see what way they're going to call it, though, because I thought it was 66.
They're going to call it against the Tigers.
I don't believe this one. I don't believe this one.
First down from the 36-yard line. After the penalty for face masking. Back to pass, Smith, pressured, hit, thrown down. 4 different Tigers led by Andrew Smoke and Tredexter Hamilton buried the quarterback inside the 30.
You may try to take our spirits, but you can't take our heart from us. The Moss Point Tigers defense just proved what it has to do is to continue to play strong football, strong defense, to force Gulfport into a long situation to score. So you can hear these fans starting to get fired up now with the defense.
Big loss in the play back to the 29-yard line. I'm reminded that Charles Hall, who wears number 7, from Moss Point.
Oh, he is?
Timeout is taken by the Gulfport Admirals with 6:31 remaining. Why don't we take one as well as you look at Tremaine Moore on the sidelines. It's 28-14 Moss Point here from Milner Stadium in the 4th.
Want to avoid the long lines and the heat of the day when trying to cash your payroll check? Then come to A&B Check Cashers, located in the Southgate Shopping Center at the intersection of Main Street and Jefferson Street in Moss Point. A&B would be happy to cash your checks courteously and quickly. At A&B, you can wire money to anyone, any place, anytime. A&B Check Cashers, Moss Point.
Moss Point, number 2 in Mississippi, leads Gulfport by the score of 28-14. Second down coming up, and 17 for the Admirals back at the 29-yard line. Josh Johnson split out wide to the top of your picture. Now they put Hall in motion. They drop Smith back. Blitz coming. They throw to Hall, and Hall catches it, but it's dropped immediately by Albert Dickerson, who may be winning the MVP award on defense tonight.
Good clean lick, though, Charles Hall. Albert Dickerson hit you with a good clean lick, and the Moss Point defensive pressure from the front line, they're just putting their ears back now. They know that Gulfport has to throw the football if they want to get back in this football game, and they just coming in a hurry now, and led by Andrew Smoke and Tredexter Hamilton.
It's 3rd down and 14. Fans want the Big Blue to fire up, and they will on this 3rd down play. Smith back, rolling near side, throws, it's complete, and it's to the 45-yard line. Jones makes the tackle on the running back Crosby, a yard short of the 1st down.
The good thing about it, with 5:30, the clock is still running. Don't stop yet. If Gulfport is to score, the Tigers cannot let them score quick. They've got to make them use the clock to help them out a little bit.
4th and 1, the Admirals must go for it, trailing by 2 touchdowns. They give it to Crosby. He's got a seam and a 1st down to midfield. Crosby with the 1st down on the 5-yard pickup.
Chris Smith darted away from pressure on the previous pass pattern, was able to feed that ball just into his receiver to get it close to a 1st down. Other than that, this football game would have been over. Moss Point would have been able to stop him on that long 3rd down play. Brad Gulfport's had every opportunity in the world, really, to have this game. Touchdowns called back against the Tigers.
1st down. Smith, play action, pump, hit as he throws downfield. Johnson open, got it, touchdown. Josh Johnson got open behind Von Travis Kelly. And a 49-yard touchdown pass as they went pump and go, and it's 28-20.
Von Travis bit on the fake, and that's the same pattern they ran last week for the touchdown. Gulfport.